Hello friends, welcome back to Digitalk. And in this session, I am going to explain you how we send the messages in a queue and then how we read the messages from a queue. Okay, so it is an end-to-end demo where I will configure the complete JMS resources. Okay, and along with that, I will show you the code which we are going to use to send the message in a queue. Then we will monitor the message from the admin console. Okay, and then I will show you the code for receiving the message and what all are the configurations or the important configurations that we have to take care when we configure the resources or specifically the JMS resources from the admin console. Okay, so let me write all of the configurations that we are going to perform in this exercise. Okay, so first we need a domain, right, where we have a admin server is running along with the manage server. Click for the demo because we are going for a queue, so you need us one managed server at least in the domain. Okay, so when we talk about the distributed queue, that is a concept of for the JMS clustering, but that is another thing that we will cover in some other session. But this session is specifically dedicated to the queue. Okay, so we should need a domain with admin server and at least one managed server. Okay, then we will configure the JMS server, right, that we will target to our managed server, and then we will create persistent store to store our message that need to be targeted to your managed server and attached to JMS server. So what we do when we create the persistent store, we attach it with a particular JMS server and we target it to the managed server, right? Then we will configure the JMS module, right? JMS module. Okay, inside that we will configure sub deployment, which is nothing but just a grouping of JMS resources that we target to a specific server or cluster if we are using the distributed queue or distributed topics, right? So inside the sub deployment, we group all the resources that we are going to target to a particular JMS server or to a particular managed server. Then we will configure the connection factory, right, which is used by the applications to connect with your JMS system, right? After that, we will create a queue, right, and then we will send and receive messages from queue. Okay, this is the thing that we are going to see in this exercise along with the code. Okay, how we uh, how we define the different JNDIs of JMS specific configurations in our code. Okay, and then how we send and receive the messages with the help of applications, right? So so first let me see that I have a domain is there. Okay, and I have one admin server and two managed servers. So I have my managed server one is up and running. Okay, there I will show the demo of this particular queue, right? So now first what I need to do is first I will go to my services. Okay, messaging, and then first JMS server. Okay, so first I will create a JMS server, right? Let me name demo JMS server, right? Click next, and because there is no persistent store, so we have two options. When either we can create it from here as well, okay, or second option is even before going to create a JMS server, you first create a persistent store, right, from here. Okay, from here, and then you go for creation of the JMS server. So will you get it here in the Dropbox? Okay, you can go with any of the option. So because I haven't created persistent store yet, so I will click on create a new store. Okay, so I'm going to create a file store so that my messages will be stored at the file store level, right? So let me name it demo file store. Okay, so I haven't given any path as of now. Okay, so I'm going to create it. If you would like to specify some path for your messages, okay, then you have to specify a directory here. Let me specify c colon root and then jm demo file store dir, correct? Okay, and this is I'm creating on, let me create on D drive. Okay, and you have to make sure this folder exists in your system. So Let me go to D and then let me create a folder. It is name, right? So now whatever the message is that you will send to this particular queue, which will be going to store in this file store, it will be stored in this particular directory. Okay, click on next. Target, I have to target to manage server 1. This is the same where I am going to target my JMS server as well. Click on finish. Now we have a file store, so let's select it. Click on next. Now this is a target for your JMS server, so I will set the manage server 1. Okay, so let's click on finish. So now you can see that we have a demo JMS server is ready, and the persistent store is demo file store base, where target is manage server 1 and target for your JMS server is also manage server 1. Now if you go to inside the persistent store, then you can see this is here as well. Okay, right, and we have given the this particular directory for this JMS persistent store, right? So now our first part is completed, where we have configured a JMS server, along with we have configured the persistent store, right? Next we will go for the JMS module, and we will configure a JMS module, right? So let me give a name, demo JMS module. Click on next, and now target it to manage server 1, because we have targeted our JMS server and persistent store to JMS manage server 1. So I am going to target to manage server 1. We can't target it to the cluster. Why? Because this is a queue, and queue is a singleton services. You can't target queue to multiple JMS servers. Okay, single queue to multiple JMS servers. If you would like to use the cluster options, for that you have a distributed queue. Okay, so that we will cover in some differentiation. So as of now I'm just focusing on the queue part, right? So why we have selected the ms1 manage server? Because we have targeted our JMS server to manage server 1 and persistent store also to manage server 1. Okay, click on next. Okay, and it is saying, would you like to add resources to your JMS system module? So I am not adding as of now. Let's click on finish. So now you can see that JMS module is ready, right? My JMS module is ready. So what is the next part that we have written? We have to configure the sub deployment, where we do the grouping of the different JMS resources. So click on your JMS module. Inside that, click on sub deployment, and then click on new option. You have to give a name. Let me give demo sub deployment. Click on next. Okay, you have to target it to the JMS server, because we will configure all the JMS resources like connection factories and queues, etc. in this particular sub deployment. So whatever the deployment target we are going to give to this sub deployment here, it will be applicable for all of the resources that we are going to group in this particular sub deployment, right? So target it to JMS server and then click on finish, right? So now you can see that this is our sub deployment which is ready, and target is demo JMS server. Resources is blank because we haven't assigned any connection factory, queues, or any resources to this particular sub deployment, so it is showing as blank, right? So let me go back again to my JMS module, and see this is my JMS module, right? And inside that we have a sub deployment which is targeted to my JMS server, right? Now go back to configurations, and inside the configurations of JMS module we have option this new, right, to create the JMS resources. So our sub deployment is also ready, so we have covered this part, right? So next we have to create a connection factory and a queue, right? Then we do the testing. So let's click on new option, and first you have to create a connection factory. Click next. Okay, you have to give a name for a connection factory. Let me give demo connection factory, right? Next we have to specify the JNDI name. So this is an important configuration, so I have explained in all of my previous videos or sessions as well. The JNDI name is a lookup service that your application used for the lookup of the services in your JMS system, or you can say in your JNDI tree of Weblogic server, whether it is JMS or data source or anything. Okay, so JNDI has to be exactly the same name which you have defined in your code. Okay, so if I talk about my code, or if I talk about the JMS name, okay, so this is the name JMS/test connection factory that we have defined in our code. I will show you that code as well. Okay, let me first finish my configuration. Okay, so let me give it as a JMS/test connection factory. Okay, this is the JNDI name. Okay, this is going to define in your application as well. Okay, you can't define this randomly like the name of your this particular JMS module. Okay, so now click on advanced targeting. Why advanced targeting? Because we have created a sub deployment, right, and we would like all the configurations or all the JMS resources to be grouped in this particular sub deployment, right? So we have selected a sub deployment. You can see the target is automatically coming JMS server because we have given the target to sub deployment as this particular JMS server, right? Click on finish. Right, so now you can see that you have a connection factory is created. Sub deployment is the demo sub deployment, target to demo JMS server, and this is the name of your connection factory, JNDI name. Right, so now what exactly we need? We need to configure now a queue. So click on queue, click on next. Let me give the name demo queue. Right, again JNDI is an important property. You have to give the same JNDI name that you are going to use in your code. Okay, so what we have in our code is JMS/test JMS queue. So let me use this one and then let me copy paste here. So this is the name JMS/test JMS queue, which is there in my code as well. Right, click on next. Again same, select the same sub deployment because we are grouping all the resources in same sub deployment. It will automatically select the demo JMS server target, right, which we have given to this particular deployment, sub deployment. Click on finish. So now you can see that we have a demo connection factory is created. Okay, and we have a queue also created. So what will happen when any application need to connect to this particular queue, right? They will look up for the JMS resources. So first it will use the connection factory to create the connection to JMS system using this particular JNDI. And once this connection is created, it can connect to this particular queue using this particular JNDI. Okay, which we are going to define in our application. So our JMS configurations are completed. So let me activate all of the configurations, right? Okay, so these are the static JMS configurations. So there is no these are the dynamic configurations, so we don't need to restart any of the services, right? So let me quickly recap and show you what we have done so far. So from the configuration perspective, we have configured the JMS server, right, and the persistent store, right, and after that we have configured the JMS module, and then this is our JMS module where we have defined the connection factory and queue, right? So let me show you the code as well quickly. Okay, so now you can say there is a dat file is also created inside our JMS store directory, which we have given to our persistent store. So this is the dat file which will be created, right, once you will create your persistent store and JMS resources, right? So now let me show you the example of my code as well. Let me see where exactly it is in my system. This is in C example JMS queue, and then yes, this is the code for sending the message to queue, and this is the code to receive the message, right? So let me show you the send code first. Okay, so this is my Java send code, and what exactly you need to make sure here is, this is that why I was showing to you the JMS connection factory name should be JMS/test connection factory, and this is the same name that we have defined to our connection factory when we have created the connection factory, right? And second important configuration is, this is the name of queue in the code, right? So this is the same that we have defined in our WebLogic as well, right? This is the same JNDI name, right, which we have defined in our code as well, right? This is the code, right? So now along with that you have a JNDI factory string as well. So this is the default factory that come with the WebLogic, right? So they can, so all can use the same thing, but when they are defining the other JMS configurations, they have to make sure to define the JMS connection factory JNDI as same which we have defined in the WebLogic server. And similarly, when you are defining your queue, you have to make sure the JNDI of your queue is same as you have defined in your WebLogic server, right? So either it is vice versa. If your code is ready, then before configuration you have to take it from your developers, and if first you are defining your JMS resources and then your developers are going to do the coding, then you have to share this particular JNDI with the developers to ask them, this is the JNDI name that we have used in our configuration, so please use the same in the code, right? And similarly, this is the code for receiving the messages. Let me open this as well and show you. Okay, so you can see that the same JMS connection factory is used for connecting to the JMS system in the WebLogic, and then for reading the message we have used the same JNDI. That means we are sending a message to the same queue, and then we are reading the message from the same queue with a different code, right? And we are using the same connection factory for connecting with the WebLogic system, right? So now this is the first part is completed, JMS part is completed. Now the second part is we have to send the message and read the message, right? So now if I go back to my queue. Okay, this is my queue that I have created. Click on queue name and then monitoring. You can see the message, current count, pending, total, everything is 0, right? Because we don't have a messages as of now in the queue, right? So if I would like to send the message to this particular queue, the process for that is, let me show you that process as well. Okay, so this is the code that I have in my in this particular location. Let me go to this particular location, right? So let me first compile my code. Okay, this is the command to compile. Let me first run the environment file to set environment parameters. Okay, after that you have to run a command to compile your code. Okay, so Java C is come with the Java for compiling your code, right? So once you will compile your Java code, Java file, it will create a class file for you. Okay, so this is the example Java C and the complete path of your Java file. This is the code. So when I run this Java code with the Java C, it will compile and it will create a class file, corresponding class file, right? This is the class file. Okay. So similarly, let me compile my receiver as well. Okay. Let me compile my both code. Okay. So this is my sender which I have compiled, and let me compile the receiving code as well. So now we have a two class file here, right? One for sending the message, second for receiving the message. Okay, so let us first send the message to the queue. Okay, so for that one, what is the syntax for that? The syntax is Java, because we are running the independent code. It is not deployed on any WebLogic managed server. So we are running with the direct command Java, and then this is the complete path for the queue which we have created, right? And then T3 colon localhost 7003. So localhost is the my localhost IP address, DNS name, and 7003 is the port of my first managed server, right? So that means I am going to send the message to my first managed server with the help of this particular. Okay, could not find the load main class. Q send. Okay, it's not able to find the class. Let me see what is the reason. Maybe I am running from a different location. Okay, okay, okay. So let me. Okay, sorry. So I have to go to the C drive, because why to C drive? The reason is that, let me. I will tell you the reason why I am telling to run it from the C drive, because the path we have given example.jms.q, right? And this is the same directory that I have created on the my C drive, right? Example JMS and Q, right? That means to run this particular path, I have to go to my C drive, right? And then I will specify the complete path for running it, right? So now run you. Okay, so when I will run it, it will ask me to enter some messages. So I will write hello, how are you, right? And then I will press Control C, right? And now let me see if the messages are reached to my queue or not. I will go to my JMS module. Inside my JMS module, I have my queue, and then I will click on monitoring, right? Now you can see the 4 current messages are there. Total 4 messages are there. And why 4? Because first I have entered how are you, and thus I press the Control C. Either you will press Control C or you will write the queue. Okay, it will exit the program, but it will take it as a message as well, right? So we have a 4 messages now there in this queue, right? And this is how we can connect with the user code to send the message to a particular queue, where I have explained you the important configurations we need to take care of, the which is the JNDI name of your connection factory and the JNDI name of your queue, right? And now similarly, when we talk about to receive the message from the queue, if you would like to read the message from that particular queue, okay, so let me show you that as well. For that I have to run the same command. Now we have to specify the different program that we are using to read the messages, right? So for that we have a queue receive, right? And then because it is on the same managed server, so we will write this one, and then let me see if it is reading or not. Okay, so here is see, hello, how are you, right? Okay, these are the messages we have given, complete 4 messages. Okay, so it has not taken the Control C character that I was saying to you. Okay, sometime it take that one, but maybe I have pressed the enter that time. So we have entered the 4 messages, hello, how are you, right? So it has now there on your screen. That means this particular program is reading all the messages from the queue which we have sent to this particular queue. And how it is reading that, I have shown you the command, or the code as well, right? It is reading the message, right, with the help of this particular connecting to this particular connection factory and then reading from this particular queue, right? And now if you go back and see the again the status of your queue monitoring, that you will see the messages current is 0, total is 0, because we have sent total 4 messages so far to this particular queue, right? And we have only one consumer, right, which we are reading from here. This is the consumer which is consuming the message, right? Messages high is 4, that means the total messages that we have sent to this particular queue since the server restarted last time. And now you can see the messages current is 0, that means we have read all the messages, so now the current message is 0. So this is how we can we use a code for sending and receiving messages from the particular queue, and then how we define the different JMS resources. Thanks for watching this video.